parents grew up with, maybe if they grew up with any games, we're talking Pong and Atari and stuff like that. I mean, we grew up with literally starting with 8-bit, and then in the span of 12 years of our lives, we went from 8-bit to 3D to voiceovers and all that. I mean, we were able to see
Yeah.
gaming
And now
just
you have
grow.
games. You have games like now, like Expedition and Yote, that
Oh
are
my
just
gosh.
incredible.
Welcome, everyone. We are now 9 episodes into the midnight release. First and foremost, I hope that everyone had a great holiday. We're coming right off of the Christmas holiday. We've got New Year's coming up here in just a couple days. So we're closing in on 2025 this week.
I think you mean closing out and closing in.
Closing in on the end of the year, but closing out 2025.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair
But
assessment.
anyways, there's another episode to go, another year down. It's been a long year and a short. This year's flown by.
Yeah, I'll keep saying it. It seems like time is flying. And again, whether that's because there's more time in front of us than behind us or whatever, but there was a lot that happened this year, personally, gaming wise, movie wise, just general life wise. A lot happened this year.
Yeah, not to mention it's just weird to think about that we are closing out the first quarter of the century, and we've been here the entire time. Which I feel there's no telling how you feel.
There is not that many years difference between us. I mean, I understand that you have to make old jokes, but you are right though. It is interesting to think about the fact that we are now, wrapping up the first quarter of the 2000 or 2100, however you want to talk it, but the first quarter, is insane.
So, on another note, so obviously we're on episode 9. What are we getting into today?
Yes, so episode 9 to close out 2025, since tomorrow is New Year's Eve, symbolizing the movement from one year to another. So our story mode is kind of in line with that theme, and it's called Achievement Unlocked Adulthood. We're going to take a lot of what we've talked about over the last 8 weeks, focus more around life now, what being a gamer is like now that, life is much more and just significantly more complicated than it used to be. Games that defined us, movies that defined us, and how we still hold on to ourselves the best that we can. Our side quests, we're going to do bonus level today, which that's when we get into like niche fandom items. We're going to talk about some D&D items and things like that, and then also going to be getting into next gen. So looking forward, looking in 2026, some resolutions, things like that. And it just makes sense since we're going into a new year. So we'll talk about some 2026 games, movies, and resolutions.
I'm surprised you went with Achievement Unlocked instead of the Platinum Trophy since you are a Sony guy, but Achievement Unlocked does sound better.
Yeah, and that, I mean, the first person to do those things was Xbox. I mean, with achievements, because right when the 360 came out, they had achievements, where Sony waited until the PS3, or, well, I guess those were the same life cycle, but the PS3 didn't launch with trophies. They came much, much later. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into our story mode today. So we can let folks get to planning their New Year's Eve plans. So here we go, talking about Achievement Unlocked Adulthood. So this topic is very question driven. What I mean by that is the concept itself can be relatively broad. So we've come up with just some general questions to kind of drive our discussion a little bit today. And to start off, I am going to hit you with the question, and then I'll answer the same question too. But so when you think about growing up back in the day, hashtag throwback, what did you want to be? Like, you always hear adult ask kids, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?"
What do you want to be when you grow up?
What did you want to be whenever you grew up?
Well, I mean, you've known me since I was a teen, so
Yep.
that is one thing. So you should know this answer.
Valid. I do know this answer. I'm fairly certain I know this answer.
But overall, growing up originally, like I wanted to be. I had some problems originally, like just paying attention in school, and then something happened and the switch flipped, and I decided that I wanted to be a teacher. Actually, I was really good at math. The teachers that I was with were completely different. Like, there was a lot that shaped me, and it turned me into and I wanted to be a math teacher. I want to teach geometry.
geometry. And really? I didn't know. I knew teacher. I didn't know the particular subject.
Yeah, I wanted to be a geometry teacher. My favorite teacher I ever had growing up, his name was Mr. Radke, and he is a fantastic guy.
So
he was a geometry
I don't
teacher.
think we've had this conversation. So I'm a firm believer that everybody is either a math person or an English person. So you're a math person, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I don't do good with words.
Well, that's yes. I mean, that checks out. I am an English person. I hate math like so
No,
much.
I literally I graduated. Like, if you take all of my grades from freshman year to when I actually graduated, I think I averaged I think the lowest grade I had was like a 94 in statistics, maybe.
It's funny that you bring up statistics because you mentioned your favorite teacher that you've ever had. I had I took an AP statistics class. Now I know you're thinking to yourself, why did you take an AP statistics class? I had to take an AP class, and the teacher that I had for that class was very. It made the day go by faster, I guess. So that is why I picked that class. Now, funny enough, I did wind up with a perfect 100% in that class.
Look at you.
So now, okay, so you want to be a math teacher?
Yeah, I want to be a math teacher, and then it kind of oriented to. So originally, I wanted to be a math teacher growing up, and then when I got to GameStop, actually, when I got promoted at a really young age. We've said multiple times on the pod. But I wanted. There was nothing more than I wanted at the time than to try to maybe make a career out of
GameStop.
I mean, as we told before, there was a particular DM who was very big on trying to help get there. And whenever he was there, before everything happened with him, he was calling me for things to help, he was trying to help me do things, trying to give me responsibilities, things of that nature.
Well, and I think we had the same setup. I mean, your person was different than my person, but essentially the same, very much, helping us grow, being the go-to people while we were there. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, and what's funny, when I thought of this question, I couldn't tell you what I wanted to be when I grew up. I really tried to noodle on this, and I tried to think about it. When I was a kid, what did I want to do, or what did I want to be? And I really have no idea. I feel like I have to ask my mom, what did I used to talk about wanting to be or wanting to do? Because I have no clue. The only time I can remember when I made a decision on what I wanted to do was when I started working at GameStop. And it's because, the only time, actually, there was one other thing. When I was working at GameStop, I was super, super involved in the local music scene. And I had friends that were in bands. I dealt with selling merch and it was a roadie basically, but I ran the sound at a few bars and stuff. Actually, what's funny, I didn't know you during this time, but considering where you grew up, do you know Bulldog Cafe in Fairdale?
Yeah.
So we used to play there all the time, and I'd help run the door and do the bar and do the sound, all while I'm 16 years old. But at one point in time,
it's changed now. It's no longer Bulldog.
Oh yeah, it's something else now.
It's a pizza place.
Is it really?
I think it's Fairdale Pizza is what it is now.
Oh, but yeah, at one point in time, I was going to go to I wanted to go to Full Sail University and get a degree in recording music. And what changed that was getting promoted at GameStop. That didn't seem realistic, at all. I wasn't really musically inclined. My buddy, who did end up going to Full Sail and got a degree, is very musically inclined. So it made sense. But we were going to go together. But then I got promoted to a third key, or SGA is what they called him, I think, at GameStop. So then that's what I was focused on. I wanted to advance and be a DM or further.
Mine was. See, I was an assistant at 19. So, and when I hit there, I was like, hold on, this is a possibility. And then I was also the assistant in the busiest store in Louisville. So,
yeah.
So that's another thing. That's why, my time frame, I turned 18. I was an SGA, literally the day after I was at SGA. I turned 19 like a month after I was.
When's your birthday? Date?
21st
of
September.
Yeah, so that check you had already graduated.
Yeah,
I was trying to.
I graduated at 17.
Yeah,
see, I was in. I was in. I mean, I was in college because I was going to school.
That's right.
So even as an SGA, I was going to school to be a math teacher. So I did a year and a half. Right. And then I wanted to take a semester off. I just felt like there was a lot going on. And I literally was off for like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. It's probably longer than that. It's probably like 2 or 3 months. And I got promoted to an assistant. And when I got promoted to an assistant, like everything was going very, very well.
See, yeah, and I didn't have that luxury of working at a busy store because when I got promoted to SGA, I was 18, but I turned 18 while I was still in school and all that. But I went to Dixie, and it was slow as hell. And then I was only an assistant for 6 months and then got promoted to an assistant. And then the whole reason that we even met was because in order for me to get promoted to store manager, I had to work at a higher volume store. Yeah. So they moved me over there.
And that's I was in that high
volume. You were already there
from start till I got
from the get-go.
Yeah, like
which blows my mind how dead that place is now. I've gone there on a Saturday afternoon.
I even had I had a guy.
I mean, I was banned from there, but aside from that,
I had a buddy of mine that went and was trying to grade cards, and he was like, "Dude, it wasn't like it used to be." He's like, "Whenever you all were there, like it's just completely different now."
No,
well, and I've noticed we've had that conversation before. It's different like that when you go GameStop now. It doesn't feel the same as it used to.
Yeah.
So
well, and what's funny is before we go to our next question. You actually reminded me several times on earlier episodes. So, I mean, yes, I have a master's degree, and it's in human resources. But what's funny is the whole reason I went to college was our DM at GameStop said, "Hey, you got to have a bachelor's degree if you want to be a DM, like just in business or something." I was like, "Okay."
See, and that was what's funny is the DM that I'm talking about legitimately told me he's like, "No," he's like,
"Yeah, requirements had changed probably." By then.
Well, no, it's not even that. He said it's not even that they changed. It was never actually a requirement. It was a recommendation.
Oh, fair enough.
So,
but I mean, I was 18 and asking for advice, But so that was the thing. I was just going to get a 4-year business degree. Well, I realized in those undergrad classes, I'm not a math person. Well, I had accounting classes and other number shit. But then what ended up happening, and I'm not going to kind of get into the specifics, but at GameStop, there was an experience that, when I finished my bachelor's, everyone told me you've got 2 different directions. Either you just get an MBA or you could pursue, human resources, like go in and get a master's of HR. And everyone told me the difference. MBA was numbers focused. Human resources was people focused. Now, despite not liking people that much, I went the people route. The reason is because of an experience at GameStop. Like there was and you know the story. There was an awful.
You've kind of mingled around it.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, we'll go with it. So, while working at GameStop, everyone who used to shop at GameStop, from a consumer perspective, or anyone listening who used to work at GameStop, knows that numbers were a big deal. Like, as a consumer, how many times were you asked, "Hey, do you want to pre-order that? Hey, do you want to pre-order this? Hey, do you mean to print you a pre-order list? Hey, your Edge card, your power-up card's about to expire. You want to renew it?" And everyone had that experience of being badgered at GameStop. And the thing is, the reason why you all would get badgered when you shopped in GameStop is because behind the scenes, we had percentages that we had to meet. And I don't know if you remember the numbers, but for the default, for the most part, was 10% reservations and 5% subscriptions. But some really busy stores had higher percentages.
You had to go higher.
Yeah.
Ours was 2010.
2010, yeah. So, but for the most part, 10 and 5 was like the average. GameStop brought the gavel down and said that anyone who wasn't meeting their numbers over the span, as a store, but looking at people it was people
you
individually.
Could go. So they went for a while where it was individually.
Well, no,
I never had the problem.
Oh yeah,
I was always
you all were balling over there.
I was literally like 30-20, like.
Oh yeah, but and the thing is, it was your assistants were supposed to be like the top sellers. Now I was a store
Which
manager at the time.
ours was.
Oh yeah, Rob. Yeah,
he was the top seller.
The one who made me spend $1,500.
He was probably, if I remember right, Rob was almost always at like 50%, and then like 50%.
He could sell ice to an Alaskan native. Like, there is no doubt about it. But no, we had to start writing people up. And so as a store manager, I was having to venture into some areas that I was unfamiliar with. Like, I had done some like interviewing and hiring and things like that. But so I had to write up my entire staff. And in doing that, there was, now being someone in HR, I kind of understand this a little more, but there was some retaliation that was done about that write-up that resulted in me being on the wrong side of HR. And it was a very traumatic experience. Think of a scenario where you have your phone, and let's say you have, private messages or private photos or something like that on it, and someone decides to open it and go through it, basically. That sort of scenario occurred that put me on the wrong side of HR, that then made me pivot to wanting to pursue human resources as a career. And, to not be, because in general, most people hate HR. Like, anywhere you work, you hear human resources, you hate them. I wanted to be that person they wouldn't hate. So ironically enough, I may not have known what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I did get there, and GameStop helped me do it. And for the most part, that's what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm not in front end HR, but I am doing some of it. But
so, well, I was going to say too, like the other thing, I mean, obviously, like I say that as a teen, like that's what I would, that's what I wanted to do. I definitely originally was like, nah, I want to play baseball for the rest of my life. Like when I was a kid in like, elementary, middle school.
See, I never had any sports things,
but I was also playing like baseball. Like I play a lot of baseball. So.
Now I definitely did go through a thing at one point in time when LAN parties and stuff were all the rage. There were not like LAN party centers that existed like there are today. Like, frankly, I'm shocked it's just now become like a normal thing. At one point, that kind of popped in my head. Of like owning a game store like that, for LAN parties and stuff. And technically, my bucket list item now is to own a game store, card games, video games, the whole thing. But all right, let's jump over to this other question here. So, when you were a kid, how did you perceive adults? Like, essentially, the reason for this question is like, how did you perceive adults then? How do you perceive adults now? And do you perceive yourself as an adult?
That's a deep question.
It is. I'll go ahead and take this one, and then I'll pass it to you. So, growing up, like, adults for me, like, were very much like had their shit together, and like, as a kid, you just want to get to being an adult as soon as possible. And this is such a weird comparison, but like, you think of the show like the Golden Girls and things where you see people that were very old adults, and you're like, oh my goodness, man, the ladies on the Golden Girls are like 50 something or 40 something in that. You look at 50 and 40-year-olds now. I mean, not you, but me. Like, I'm gonna be 40 in like 4 years or 3 years, something like that. It's just insane. But looking at adults growing up as a kid, especially like, the hobbies and interests that we had, playing games and all of that, like, they had their shit together. They were always on the move. They were always doing something. They were always busy. And what's messed up is the people who I perceived as adults then, I don't know about you, but like, I still perceive them as the adult, and I very much struggle to perceive myself as an adult.
So I think mine was like, perceived as, whenever you say perceived as an adult, is somebody that, like, I guess the best way to put it is like provides, I guess. It's because like,
yeah,
like somebody that they work all the time. Like, not all the time, but they work consistently. They make enough money to provide, like, and then they also they somehow can create basically a fund to, like, if they want to go into having a family, or if they want to do give back to their family, or do whatever they want to do.
Yeah,
that is an adult. Like, growing up, like, the way I look at it, like, my parents, my uncles, like, my mom at one point worked 3 jobs. Like, that was something that I thought you just did.
Oh yeah, it was like a default. Yeah,
like,
my mom was the same way.
mom worked 3 jobs. My dad used to work. I mean, my dad's 56 and he still is working.
Oh yeah,
Like he's working. I know for a fact right now he's working about 16 to 20 hours a day, almost
Goodness
every day
gracious.
right now. So, but just to provide, like that's just the way that it was there. Now, is there other things that I think add into that? Because I do. Because like now that I have a family and such like that, like I'm gonna spend time with my wife, I'm gonna spend time with my kids, like, but I also want to be able to go places and do things, and you have to work to go there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think for me, and maybe it's because of the hobbies and the interests that we have. And maybe it's because I just didn't know a lot of adults like this as a kid, but adults did not have fun interests.
Their interests were work. Their
interest was work, and maybe we just didn't see that. But like whenever I think about growing up, like I just think of, like my stepdad went to the lake and did all that stuff, and my mom would watch reality shows and stuff like that. But it is very difficult for me to think of like, all this stuff we've been talking about. Yes, we've talked about starting at GameStop. Each of us were 16 years old. When I think of myself as a 16-year-old, like. So I have mentioned them previously in the podcast. Tim and Lisa that I worked with at GameStop that were a huge staple into who I am now. I started at GameStop at 16. Now, I am not going to call out their ages on the podcast, but I had to ask them the other day how old they were because they are like permanently low to mid-20s to me. Because when I started at 16, they were like in their mid-20s.
I think it's hard to perceive people that are adults like me growing up. Like that's how I feel. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like whenever I started, I mean, we started a little bit different. Like whenever I met Tim, like that's still the Tim I think of. I don't think about the fact that Tim is now
however
that was
old
15 years old, 15 years ago. So
yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
and that's just like the question. Like I don't know if you've gone down this rabbit hole with your parents or anything like that, but like, so I'm 36, and like I've asked my mom about different stages in her life and what age. So that's the thing. My mom was 27, I think, if I remember correctly, when she had me. So that means that when she was 36, I would have been 9 years old, if that's accurate. So that is what's insane to me, is that perception, and so it is a struggle to think about our generation of millennials being adults. And I know that probably sounds like some kind of cop-out. And of course, this whole thing is about Achievement Unlocked Adulthood. So we've made it to adulthood, obviously. Yeah. We are adults. But it's weird to think about it. It's this weird perception of time, which we've talked about several times.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And, that being said, I do think that our hobbies and our interests play a huge role, I think, in that kind of perception. And like gaming in general. Like, our parents grew up with, maybe if they grew up with any games, we're talking Pong and Atari and stuff like that. I mean, we grew up with literally starting with 8-bit, and then in the span of 12 years of our lives, we went from 8-bit to 3D to voiceovers and all that. I mean, we were able to see gaming
and
just
now you have
grow.
Games. You have games like now, like Expedition and Yote that are just
gosh.
incredible.
Like they
well, and even like I know you say they're not real games, but like sports games. Like if you look at the evolution of a sports game,
did you see what I sent you today?
Which
they are making a new NBA Street.
Oh no, but that's
it's a 3v3. They have the same announcer apparently who did NBA Street back in the day is coming back.
I'll play that.
Yeah, complete derailment. But as soon as you said that, I remember.
Yeah, but but in general, like I understand you said they're not games, but at the same time, like if you watch, like if you go back and look at like 2010 sports games, and then take like NBA 2K10, and then you go all the way and look at 2K26 that's out now.
Yeah,
I mean, the people look.
Oh,
look identical now,
and that's the thing. Like, I feel like there was a point in time in gaming where we all sat back and looked, and we're like, "How are games ever going to look better than this?"
Yeah,
I feel I had that moment. I don't think I had that moment until the PS3 era. Frankly, I think it was Metal Gear Solid 4 when I was like, "How are they going to get better than this?" What's funny is when you compare Yote, Expedition 33
to those games
to the newest NBA or Madden, to those games, it's like, holy crap, we somehow have gotten better. But like right now, after playing Death Stranding, after playing Yote,
which I finally platinumed after we talked about for the last 4 or 5
props
weeks.
to you for getting a platinum on that. I am working on the platinum for Expedition.
It's also your 5th time through Expedition, so
I did 3 times on Xbox, and no, I haven't done New Game Plus yet. So this is the 4th time.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't played Beat Simon yet, so we'll see how that goes. But the thing, I think those hobbies and those interests impact the kind of perception. And I know when I grew up as a kid, gaming was very important to me. Like I spent a lot of time alone in my room. Now I know a lot of kids spent a lot of time alone. No, don't give me that look. Not like that. I spent a lot of time alone in my room playing games, playing video games.
Leisure Suite Larry.
That's true. I forgot about Leisure Suite Larry, but I just played that game for the record.
Yeah, you did.
The game itself on the system, on the console with the controller. But it was a huge part of my life. Like I very much had to make time to play games, and I've always made it a point to make time to play games.
And that's something that like I'm gonna be honest, I don't have as much time now. That's one of the reasons why
that's why you've been using the portal so much.
That's why I've been using the portal, and that's what that's why it took me so long to finish Yote, is because I couldn't just sit down and play it for hours on it. It's like, you know what I mean?
Do you remember, I assume it's from when you were a kid, because again, as we've gotten older and we're adults now, there's less time. Do you remember or know what your longest stretch, like straight through play session was? 52 hours for me.
Mine wasn't 52 hours, I can tell you that. Mine was definitely 24, but it was...
I assume, was it some kind of multiplayer game?
It was COD.
Like grinding COD?
There was a double XP weekend, and me and Jacob and a couple others played... I prestiged like 2 or 3 times that weekend.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
No,
Jacob had a weekend, I think it was Black Ops 2. Nuketown came out and they gave double XP for that weekend.
Yeah.
Jacob bought the game that weekend and was Prestige Master at the end of the weekend.
That's insane. But you all are also good enough that checks out, though. I mean, ironically enough, we were talking about in the group chat earlier today, mine was Final Fantasy IX. And
the remake.
Because they're apparently going to do a remake in 2028. We'll see if that's true or not. I got to get Howie's source to validate. But when Final Fantasy IX came out, my mom and stepdad and my sisters went to the lake. Or maybe my sisters stayed home. But either way, I started playing Final Fantasy IX on Friday night. And I played it all the way until I beat it. And it took me 52 hours to beat that game. And I stopped to go to the bathroom and get snacks. But other than that, I stayed up and just played for 52 hours straight. Now, can I do that now? Can I do that as an adult now? You cannot take that chunk of time.
Chase can't stay up past about 9 o'clock.
No, that is not okay. Fair that I do fall asleep pretty early, but I can stay up. I mean, I've stayed up, but I get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's why I'm usually in bed by like 10 or something. But I've stayed up.
Usually even asleep by then.
Yeah, well, but
different story.
But as an adult, that is still such a critical element for me. Like, even though we are busy with work, we are busy with life and kids and everything else, like that to me, and maybe that's another difference between adults. And this is going to sound super awful. I don't really know. But there is this focus on, prioritizing those sort of things.
Well, and there's times that I don't like. My thing is, like, I try to do it when back in the kids are asleep and things of that nature.
Yeah, well,
so I try to do it like.
Well, and that's why how things were before. Like, that's why I got up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I would
sleep instead. So, which I've been working a lot recently because of some things.
Oh, holidays,
Well, holidays and other things.
Right.
So I've just finding time to play. Now, I have found more time to play. Usually with handheld systems, like the Portal is the greatest thing. That's why I was able to finish Yote.
Switch 2 now.
Switch 2 that I just finally got.
Yeah, it was some Bonanza.
I've been playing quite a bit of Bonanza. Which, after playing it And my take last week about it, whether it is a fantastic game, because it is a co-op game. If you did not know that.
No, I didn't know that.
So
and
I remember we
fun.
brought it up the other day, whether it was co-op or not, and it is co-op, so it makes sense now why it was a family.
Yeah, family game. That's right. But no, and I enjoy Bonanza, but it's just not. It's not that engaging of a platformer for me.
To me, now that I've played a little bit of it, it's literally Mario Odyssey with Donkey Kong. Like,
that's exactly what it is. When we think about life now, it doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite of all time, but what are, like, you say, the most impactful games that you've played in your life? Like, when you whether you were introduced to them at a very critical point in time in life, or they resonated with you somehow on a deep personal level.
I don't know, because I didn't play a lot of single player games that would have done that, if that makes sense. Like, all of mine didn't come from that, but it came from friendships forming because of the game. Like, if that makes sense. That's from playing Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is probably one of the most impactful games that I've ever played. I have friends that are still my friends now
that you played COD with. Yeah.
Like, me and Jacob became really good friends because we played Call of Duty. Like, that's what started it all. We competed together. We did things like that. Yeah. And it just transpired from there.
Well, and I guess that makes sense, because that's really come up very heavily in our previous episodes, especially when we had Wayne on and talking about the multiplayer stuff. I mean, for me, I think I've already mentioned it once before, but arguably 1998 is known as like one of the greatest years in gaming. What's funny is I saw a TikTok the other day that was breaking that down and what all came out in 1998. Ocarina of Time came out in 98.
That game was fantastic.
Metal Gear Solid came out in 1998.
I think I would say Pokemon too, because I've played Pokemon to this. I mean, you figure Pokemon came out. When did it originally come out?
I knew you were going to ask that. Something. Yeah, it was like 96 or 97.
It was when it came to the States, because it came out beforehand.
Yeah. I think it was 96 or 97
Yeah. Or no, it was 90. I think it was 98, because it came over with the color.
Yeah, I think
we looked it up.
Yeah, I think it came out in. Oh, we do have it on here, don't we?
I think so.
It was Pocket Powers when we talked about it.
I don't remember if I looked the dates up or if you did it on here.
Yeah, so the Game Boy Color came out in 98.
And I'm pretty sure they came out that year, because that's when...
They came out a year before, because that's what reminded me they were on the regular Game Boy.
Yellow came out in there.
Yellow came out with... so I didn't think about Pokemon. But that's another one. So 98, Game Boy Color came out, which was a huge deal. I mean, for me, it is one of those, when I try and think about a key game that had a deep personal impact on me, like, I played games as a kid. I played Duck Hunt. I played Mario. I played Sonic. I played all that. But Metal Gear Solid, I've said it before, I'll say it 1,000 times, that is the game that made me a gamer. Like, 100%. I had watched my cousin play Ocarina of Time. I'd watched him play Resident Evil. Probably shouldn't have, for as young as I was, but I did. Tomb Raider. But it wasn't until Metal Gear Solid when I was just like... And then, frankly, there's probably a little recency bias here, but Expedition 33, I cannot tell you in the last 10 years, 20 years, that I have played a game that has resonated and remained with me as long as this one has, that came out last, February, aside from Metal Gear. Like, to be honest, like, I am still talking and sweating about and listening to the soundtrack of Expedition. Like, those are probably like the two most impactful games.
Mine's like, thinking about it, I say Call of Duty when it comes to the friendship, but like Pokemon probably, like, I mean, to this day, I still buy the Pokemon games. Like, I just bought Z to A. I'm waiting for it.
Yep, which
because I got that gift card.
There's remind me after we're done recording. There's a holiday gift code where you can get like an Alpha Charizard just by doing a trade code.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So we'll do that in a little bit. But the Pokemon. I mean, you figure you start there. I played the Pokemon TCG. I played I played every Pokemon game that's ever came out.
And I forgot there was a TCG game. You brought that up during Pocket Power.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. Dragon Ball did that with the Score card game on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another one. But I mean, it was just such a staple as a kid, and even now, you know what? I take that back. I said the Metal Gear and I said Expedition, but The Last of Us is another one that, and it's also like renowned as like one of the best single player games of all time. But that's another very impactful game.
So I mean, if you go out from gaming, like if you just talk about movies and stuff, I know an anime. I know one of yours is gonna be Dragon Ball.
Yes, and so yes, mine's obviously Dragon Ball. But you know what's funny is, did you ever see that movie? It's called Boyhood. So this movie, Boyhood, it's on. I have it on my digital library. That's another one you need to watch. I'm adding constantly to your list of movies to watch. Interstellar, Girl Next Door, Boyhood. What's funny? Those three movies are drastically different from each other.
Your movies are.
Hey man, I have varying taste. But the movie Boyhood, so it's filmed over like 10 years, and they kept the same actors. It has Ethan Hawke and the guy in Scream who was married to Courtney Cox. Arquette's his last name. But
David's his first name, isn't it?
Yep, so David Arquette, but it's not David Arquette. It's the woman whose name escapes me right now. Anyway, it follows a boy growing up. What's so hysterical is in that show, when the boy is probably like 10, 11 years old, he is sitting in his living room watching Dragon Ball Z. And again, 1998 is when I got exposed to Dragon Ball Z. And I'll tell you right now, I cannot watch Dragon Ball Z streaming anywhere. The only way I can watch and consume DBZ is on DVD, those orange boxes that, I've got at the house, because it has the Bruce Faulconer music. Like, I have to hear the same thing that I heard as a kid to thrive on the nostalgia. And I know for you said Naruto was your first one. Your first anime that you watch. So I assume you probably get the same warm and fuzzies when you go and watch old Naruto that I do with old Dragon Ball. Or at some capacity. I mean, the same kind of feeling, I would guess.
Yeah. Maybe not as deep, but that is definitely the anime that I will connect with the most. Like, and it's not even because I was actually talking to somebody, and apparently there's 4 new episodes coming out
of Naruto.
Yeah, they're doing some kind of like special, and it's gonna re-release or something.
Really?
Actually, Wayne was the one that was telling me about it. Yeah.
Oh. It's not a Boruto thing. Like it's a Naruto.
I asked that specific question.
Because I know Boruto. I didn't watch it, but I know it's gotten a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But no, Dragon Ball. Like, I am very much one of those people. Dragon Ball and Metal Gear is like my entire personality. But I'm not one of those toxic people like that's going to be a dick to somebody, that has a bad take on one of those things or anything like that. But it very much is.
You allow people to have their opinions even if they're wrong.
Yeah, everyone is entitled to an opinion, even if it's a shitty opinion. I mean, that's exactly it. But even outside of anime, like movies, and we had a whole episode where we talked about movies. But I mean, and yeah, we talked about how diverse my movie taste is. I mean, if I were to try and break down like a top 5 or top 10 list, you're going to have every genre from action to chick flick to drama to, I mean, and I think that's something else that's really interesting. Mom and I had this conversation today. Do you know when the MCU started?
I was in middle school, I think.
Oh, that makes me feel so old.
What year was it?
It was 2008.
Yeah, so I started high school end of 2008, beginning of 2009, because Wayne graduated in 2009.
See, I graduated in 07, and it was so funny. Mom and I were having a conversation about the MCU, and the idea that it is that old is insane, because in this podcast where we've talked about growing up, being kids, and I would not think of the MCU as being an impactful series of movies growing up, because I feel like I saw them all as an adult. Yes, the majority have been seen as a full-fledged.
Oh, no, I mean, you got to think, that was literally, I mean, I wasn't even in high school yet.
Yeah, so. I mean, you were definitely still growing. I mean, I was 19, but that's the thing. This whole concept that you're an adult at 18 is insane, because I barely feel like an adult now at 36.
I think everyone hits a point, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, now I feel like I'm an adult. Like
Yeah.
Like even like when I first moved moved out of my parents' house and moved into my own house, like I didn't necessarily feel like an adult. Like I did it at 20 years old and that, but I didn't really.
No.
I didn't feel like an adult. Like I just owned a house. I still, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I haven't gotten to understand that feeling yet. Like I said, I still don't feel like an adult in the grand scheme. But so in talking about like achievement unlocked, yes, even if we don't feel like adults, we are in fact adults. We have jobs, we have families, we provide, like you said, we do, and these things that we did perceive adults as when we were kids, we do those things now. But what would you say, like, if you had to think of like life and achieve, like life goals as achievements, like, I mean, what would you say is like your favorite achievement?
the three people upstairs.
That's fair assessment. That's fair assessment. And I'll say, agreed to an extent on that. I mean, for me, getting that degree that I have forgotten about pretty regularly, is probably my favorite achievement, I guess. And it's funny because there's something to be said about why Xbox and PlayStation have achievements and trophies, and how that kind of applies to the real world. Because society says that, and especially when we were kids, society makes it very clear that you go to school, you get a job. Now, what is different for kids today that we got, and maybe you got the same, I assume, we very much, you go to school, you get a job, you go to college, you get a better job, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house. Like that was like the textbook achievements, the game of life that you're supposed to play and you're supposed to take. And if you don't do those things, you don't unlock those achievements. And the thing is, I think that also plays a role in how we perceived adults as a kid, is they had done, all or some of those things. But I think it's important.
I think it's that people look at people who have a career they deem respectable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does, 100%. And I feel like kids today are getting put on much better paths with like the push to trade schools and stuff like that.
I think them pushing trade schools just as much as they're pushing college is a fantastic.
Yeah, I think we got screwed.
Because I will also agree that I don't think I went to college for a year and a half, and then
you pivoted,
kind of went to college.
Right. Yes.
To do what I did now.
Yeah. Frankly, kind of a trade school.
Yeah.
It's in the grand scheme.
Yeah, in a way. But I think it is a very good service to teach people a trade in high school, to where like there's people that are coming out as journeyman plumbers when they get out of high school, and like they can learn that in high school. Like there's schools around now that are mechanic schools, and like there's a school that has an entire mechanic shop in it. Like car lifts and everything.
Well, and that's the thing, where I went to high school was a magnet school. Like it focused on auto tech and machining, and that's what my buddy Quentin ended up getting into.
Well, that's the school that I'm referring to. That's even has a more.
You talking about Southern?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where I graduated from.
They have a full on like garage now.
Oh, they had a full on garage when I was there.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. No, I mean, now I didn't go into any of that. I went into the business side of things, but yeah, I myself have always kind of referred to life as a game. Maybe that's not the best way to go about life, but and I think how we earn achievements and earn trophies in playing games, we do the same thing going through life. So we have unlocked adulthood.
Yeah, overall, like I obviously don't speak about my career a lot, but my career and my wife and kids are my biggest achievement. Yeah. So.
No, I'm with you. Well, let's go ahead. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up our story mode. We're going to jump into our side quest, starting first with bonus level. All right, so in bonus level today, we're going to be talking a little bit about D&D. So bonus level, the whole thing is a kind of niche fandom review of some kind, and today we're going to focus around Dungeons and Dragons, which I will say was not something on my mind for a long time.
Yeah, and then just if you think about it, our first time was playing together.
Yeah. Well,
and you didn't DM.
No, I didn't. Now, I will say, I technically did have some exposure to D&D.
I dated someone she played it pretty heavy, but
Yeah.
I never played it. My first actual time playing
Was just us.
was us.
I got introduced to it. See, I started ACBL in 15. And I hadn't moved yet. So probably in 2016, there was a guy I worked with, and he invited me over to play D&D. And I will say it was not for me because, and I am not criticizing the people that play this way, plus the Critical Role folks. And if you're listening to this and you're like, Critical Role, what is that? Google it, look it up right now.
They're the best
D&D
group.
Oh my gosh.
The only one that I was thinking of, and I'm literally sitting here trying to remember it. There's a second group with the guy crossed over and is doing some stuff
with them.
With Critical Role, Brendan.
Yeah, he's doing.
What's his last name?
I can't remember.
Fraser, is it?
No, I can't remember Brendan's last name, but I think he's DMing their new campaign.
Newest one. He is. So that's what I'm saying. He's DMing their newest campaign, but he had a group that he did with, and I watched him because he was a DM from another group.
Yeah,
that came over to Critical Role, and now he's DMing the newest thing for Critical Role.
First off, for anyone who may not know, Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game where you quite literally role-play as characters and you play like a board game. But my first experience, they were very into the role-playing, like changing their voices and getting real into that, which for me, not being an extrovert, I had no desire to do that. And now I love watching the Critical Role cast do it, but that was such a rough experience for me in 2016. Never, ever, ever even thought about playing D&D ever again until we played, which would have been, 22, 23 when we started the first time?
When did I?
It would have been, when was...
Hold on. I've been there a year. Wayne came to second shift. It was
23.
End of 23.
Yeah.
Because we only got 2 or 3 months before.
Yeah, and we did, so the first time we had done it, Howie had played D&D more than any of us. So Howie DM'd.
For one session.
Yeah, for one session, and so DM Dungeon Master, so he was telling the story and managing the combat.
And the next thing you know, lo and behold, the man who helped generate this podcast was like, that sounds like a lot of fun, and I think I would be really good at it. And we've had some really good campaigns.
Well, the thing is, I used to write a lot back in the day, a lot. And I got out of it several times. I got back into it several times. Everything I've ever written, I've deleted. I don't have anything I've ever written before.
You used to tell me you used to go down to, that was one of the things you did in Florida, was right? And
I went to Pensacola every single year on Labor Day weekend, and I would take my laptop and I would sit on my balcony at the Holiday Inn and I would write. And I've written fiction, nonfiction, but unfortunately, everything I've ever written, I've gotten to a point where I've deleted for various reasons. Like one of the stories that I had written, I had everything mapped out and I was working on the ending while I was in Pensacola. And then I laid down to watch something on Netflix, and I watched the movie The Best of Me, which is a chick flick, Nicholas Sparks book, made into a movie. And the twist in that movie, I had planned for what I was writing. So I was super let down because I thought I was super creative and then realized, oh no, and I was depressed about it. And then the only other one that I dove really, really hard into when I was going to take it really seriously was during or before and then during COVID. It was a fiction kind of thriller espionage type thing. It just got out of hand. Anyway, I say all that to say, after the first D&D game, love Howie to death, but what I quickly realized is he knew the rules. He knew how to manage combat and overall make sure that we had a good experience playing. But he wasn't a very good narrative storyteller. Now, I will say, I'm not trying to say I'm an outstanding storyteller. It's not what I'm trying to say compared to Howie. But now we've talked about being adults and having lives and work and kids and everything else. And I have no shame in saying this, but I leaned on ChatGPT to help me come up with a few different ideas. Thank you. To help me come up with some ideas. And essentially, between my brain and ChatGPT to help keep everything straight, I was able to create a world with backgrounds and all of that. Now, I don't think the first time I got as deep as I did recently, but basically, I used ChatGPT to kind of do this, and then I learned the rules, and I asked Howie about it, and I had a book with all the rules and stuff. So the next time we played, I was the DM. Now, when you're the DM, you don't actually play. You don't roll. You don't battle. You don't have a character on the board.
Well, you roll, but you're rolling for the enemy.
Yeah. But you're rolling for the enemies and the NPCs and stuff like that. And the first, we did one, I think we only did one session, I think. But then I did another session. Like, this was such a robust thought process, is that I did a session with you all, and then I did a session, out of town with another group. And the thought process was, oh, this will be outstanding. I'll have one group working on one side of the campaign, one group working on the other side of the campaign, and then I'll bring everything together. Like, I had this whole robust idea. And I'd used a program on the web called Incarnate to actually make maps. So, like, we were playing on, you had a TV set up where we could pull the map up on there and everything. And it was awesome. And we didn't get to jump back into it until I got moved back. And we've only played once since I've been back. But same thing. I didn't want to use that old campaign, so I started from scratch. And I created
the first one was very good.
Yeah, and is very robust. Like I said, it's a whole world. Think of Game of Thrones, like, with different regions and all of that. But it's insane how I had never heard of Critical Role until we started messing around with D&D. Then I heard of Critical Role, and then I realized that Critical Role people are not just D&D players.
No, they're voice actors. They're all voice actors.
Like, I had no idea until I started watching them that of who they were. Like, I knew the names Laura Bailey. I knew the names Matt Mercer, Travis Willingham. But I had no idea. And then it was through my brain and ChatGPT helping and watching Critical Role and how they did their campaigns that kind of inspired me to, and that's how I kind of was able to scratch my writing itch.
Yeah.
I guess.
I will say Matt Mercer may be the greatest DM there ever will be. Like, that dude is the way that he has, like, twists and turns in the Critical Role campaigns, and then the way that he I know we've talked about it, like, they're, like we said, they're voice actors. They have their own shows now.
Oh, man.
Mighty Nine, Vox Machina. I just started watching Mighty Nine. We were talking about it the other day. I'm like 2 or 3 episodes in. It's crazy.
I have not watched Vox Machina. I need to now. I have watched the Mighty Nine, which it just finished.
So I'm only a couple episodes in. So I'm a little
it is
behind.
So good. And I mean, and that's the thing. Like, to me, like, I was wanting to get into listening to their campaigns, but when I think we've all kind of fallen prone to short form content these days. Like, it's really hard for me to consume long form content. Right. So the idea of watching one of their campaigns is just, a lot. But when I heard about their campaigns being made into shows, and Mighty Nine was new and fresh, that's what I started with. But now I want to go back and watch Vox Machina so bad.
Yeah. So, and even, like, they did fantastic in Dispatch. Like, Dispatch was I've finished Dispatch now. Dispatch was fantastic.
Oh, man.
And I believe it or not, like, and
did
the
you
one that I like.
Did you do Blonde Blazer or Invisigal?
Invisigal.
Yeah. All right.
It ended up being. It wasn't going to be like that, but it ended up being like that.
Yeah.
Now, but I will say, there's people, we spoke about him last week because he won an award. Voice Critical.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic in that game.
Sonar, man.
Did so good in that game.
Did we establish we both cut Coop, right? And we kept Sonar? Yeah. No, and that's the thing. What's messed up is Ad Hoc Games that did Dispatch. They are working with Critical Role. I don't know if it's Vox Machina or the Mighty Nine or something new, but they are making a game in the same format as Dispatch, but within their campaign. That's their next project. So now,
I wonder if they'll have the same voices.
Well,
obviously you'll have Laura Bailey, Matt Mercer, Willingham.
I would assume, but I'll tell you what I recently found out. So yes, these people are playing D&D, and any no offense, boomers or Gen X folks or anything like that, that think of Dungeons and Dragons, you probably perceive it in a way like they like they perceive it in Stranger Things, that Dungeons and Dragons is super nerdy, or it's demonic if you're one of them Bible thumper types, or whatever. And it's just a game, and it is insane that it's not more. I think it's just like everything we've talked about, anime and games, how they've become mainstream, how they used to not be.
Right.
I feel
that's a very good point.
I feel that Stranger Things really put D&D on the map.
Yeah.
Plus Critical Role, because I'll tell you what.
Well, like I said, and the other group too, because the other group's really popular.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've watched some of their campaigns. It bothers me now that I can't think of it.
Well, Deborah Ann Wool played Karen Page on Daredevil. She was in True Blood.
Yeah, I mean, I know who she is.
She's also a big D&D person. She showed John Bernthal how to play, which was awesome. They just announced her coming to the Lexington Con in March.
Really?
Yes.
I've been looking at that. Me and Beck been talking about.
Yeah,
trying to go.
But they so there's a lot of big names that play D&D and things like that. But we were having a conversation at the shop today. I am an idiot and did not realize. So again, talking about adulthood and perceptions of time and all of these things. Did you know that Laura Bailey is the voice of DBZ's Kid Trunks? So back in the early 2000s, when she was like 19 years old or something like that, she was the voice of Kid Trunks.
I didn't know that.
And then fast forward to Dragon Ball Super, Matt Mercer is Hit.
I knew that one.
Yeah,
I knew that one.
Which
he's got some actual big name, like
Levi from Attack on Titan. He did Ganon in Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, there's a bunch. I think he did or is doing Vincent in Final Fantasy also.
Yeah, he's done some really big names. He's not. Oh my gosh, my mind just reminded Christopher. His name, Vegeta.
Sabat.
That's what it is. Sabat.
Oh yeah.
But he's not him, but like
it's nuts, dude. Like
he's up there,
and it's definitely something D&D wise is not something that I ever would have thought would have bled into the fandoms that I'm into. But it has. It's another pocket, like games, like movies, like comics, like card games. I mean, D&D is its own separate kind of niche thing that we have kind of fallen into. And if you've never played it, if you've never experienced it, get with people who know how. Like we started with Howie. Howie had the most knowledge. I am not going to say that I understand the rules and the mechanics of D&D very well. My whole thing is all about the narrative, Like I feel like if I could double DM with somebody that could handle the rules, I'd probably do a lot better. But hey, you're obviously enjoying it, so that's all that matters. But yeah, check out D&D if you've never tried it, or check out at least if you want to see what it's really all about. The Critical Role folks do best.
Yes, Critical Role is fantastic, and like I said, I will try to find that and find a way to get it. We might put a comment down on it to get what the other group is, but it bothers me now.
Well, somebody I work with who's huge on Critical Role, if I don't know if she's still consuming the podcast on a regular, she will likely text me as soon as she listens to this because she wears out Critical Role like clockwork.
Yeah.
But all right, so that's kind of our bonus level segment, talking about just kind of niche fandom items. Today was D&D. We're going to jump into our next side quest, which is Next Gen. So Next Gen is all about looking forward. It makes sense that we have the Next Gen segment on this episode. New Year's Eve is tomorrow. We're going to be looking at 2026. There's a lot of games coming out. There's a lot of movies coming out. But before we get into some new content and what we're looking forward to, and maybe we've talked about some of this to a degree already, but before we get into those, let's talk New Year's resolutions. Like when you think about 2026, everyone does the same thing every year, where new year, new me, whatever, or maybe not that broad, but there's some kind of resolutions.
Yeah, mine's.
I was gonna say, what do you got?
Mine's definitely pretty standard. I need to get back in a little bit of better shape. I just between working as much
rounds
of
shape.
Well, not one that I prefer to be. But ever since having our second child and stuff, just busy, making sure I find the time just to get a little bit better, in a little bit better shape, eat better, not eat as much junk.
That's fair. Yeah, after we just had no, you didn't have a cookie. I had a cookie. Never mind.
They were fantastic.
Too. They were. amazing. I'm probably going to eat another one at some point. Uh,
You gotta try the hot cocoa one.
I do got to try the hot cocoa one. For me, I feel the biggest one, and we'll see how I do, but quitting smoking.
You're not gonna do that. So let's just.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. It'll be the third time.
I give you till February.
It'll be the third or fourth time, but I am going to try and quit smoking. That's definitely probably the biggest one. I feel I should probably absorb the one you just said about eating better and things like that, since I do have, diabetes.
I feel like I've told everybody, it's like getting older. Like I can tell more now than I did like when I was early 20s and I was eating junk,
dude,
and was only going to play basketball or something. That was my work.
It's the same thing we've said before, that when you're a kid and adults and parents are telling you all these things, you are laughing, you are rolling your eyes, you are saying whatever, and now we're like, oh my gosh. Like, the fact that I had a conversation with a kid the other day who did not believe that I was older than Google, and that when I had to do research for school papers and stuff, that I had to go to the library or look at a Britannica encyclopedia or something like that, and how convinced they were that I was lying, it really made me look back, and maybe my mom and grandparents did walk uphill both ways in the snow. I don't know, but no, I think quitting smoking is probably my biggest one. Yes, I don't know if that's really realistic yet at this point in my life, to be honest, but I think the fun resolution that I have, though, that is game centric, is to replay the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy to get ready for the new Tomb Raider coming out.
I don't as much want to replay the old games, but I want to do better about actually finishing games that I'm playing.
Yeah, you've got a hell of a backlog.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just I get halfway through a game, and then something comes up, like
life.
Like now, like I'm obviously, as you know, I work for the month of January. I don't have.
Oh yeah, you've been wearing yourself out. Yeah.
I literally don't have a day off in the month of January.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Right.
Like it just a lot of stuff coming up, so I don't have as much time to do things.
Right.
So I just want to be able to actually sit down and take a little bit of time, still spend time with my family, but just have some time for me to play through a game.
Yeah, well, and I'll give you a laundry list of ones you need to catch up on. But yeah, I would say quitting smoking. I'd say if the fun one is completing the Survivor trilogy again. But what and I know we talked about this already in co-op mode with Wayne and Howie here, but it was really more about them. What would you say in 2026 is what you're looking forward to the most?
If the rumor
doesn't have to be a singular game.
If the rumor is true and there's a chance that a new mainstream Pokemon game comes out next year, it will be the game that I am looking the most forward to.
You know what? 96 is when Pokemon came out, because next year is the 30th anniversary.
That's right.
Yeah. So we were trying to figure out earlier when it came out. It was 96 because next year's the 30th anniversary.
So if that will be mine.
Man, that'll be...
Because if they come out with another mainstream game next year to switch it from Scarlet and Violet, get a new set out,
I hope they do a new mainstream, and I also hope they go away from the format of Scarlet and Violet. I know you liked it, but I did not.
I didn't. Yeah, I enjoyed Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I want the linear, OG aspect. And
the problem is, I think that the games are too far from being that now.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's gonna. I mean, you still had the 8 gems. You still had.
Yeah, I think
it's better than what was it, Sun and Moon, where you didn't even have gems. It was like.
I think I'd be happy if they. I want new games for sure, but I would also like to see a whoop ass collection with all the original games with quality of life improvements, like experience share and stuff like that. Give me Red, Blue, Ruby, Sapphire, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, not Soul and Silver, but the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver with the quality of life enhancements.
Yeah.
But I think too that everyone can agree that GTA 6 is probably...
I'm not getting my hopes up for when it's actually coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Gears of War.
Oh, yeah.
Is one we are going to make sure we mention.
Yes.
Gears of War.
Wayne.
Gears of War.
Also is going to be one that's coming out.
We will play, in all honesty, I will play quite a bit of that with
Which
Wayne.
I will say.
Actually, we'll probably play the campaign with Wayne, to be honest with that one.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Microsoft. Now, yes, I acknowledge that Halo is coming to PlayStation now. Gears will be coming to PlayStation as well, and so will Forza. But from a Microsoft first-party studio perspective, they're going to have a hell of a year next year with Campaign Evolved coming out, Gears of War E-Day, and Forza Japan. Like, that's 3, and then it's apparently Fable is supposed to come out, but
I will play Fable if it comes out next year for sure. I'm also really looking forward to that. Is it Oracles or Orbitals? The co-op game.
Yeah, Orbitals, I think is what it was called.
I figured that's something me and you'd probably play together.
Yeah,
so,
that would be cool
because we could buy it on the Switch, hook it up, play.
Yep.
About it. So,
but no, and then Wolverine will be out next year. But I think in Q1, Resident Evil, Requiem is gonna be so good.
Yeah, I'll play Requiem.
And I don't think, that's the thing. The time to get
I probably won't play it when it comes out because
that's the thing though. The time to get caught up in your backlog really will be between now and then because there's really nothing new coming out. Aside from
end of February, right?
End of February, 1st of March, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas, but I have a lot going on in.
Well, that's fair. But aside from Goopin and you finished Dispatch already. So what were you going to next?
Right now I'm playing Bonanza.
That's right. You're doing Bonanza.
So, but I also need to finish Expedition.
Well, yeah, you need to finish.
I need to finish Expedition. I have Bonanza. I have Z to A.
Well,
the thing is, me getting a Switch put a big. Yeah. I have Avatar that I started.
Oh yeah, I got 2 hours on Avatar. I need to jump back into it.
I got a couple. It's
cool, but it didn't latch on to me.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was $20 or $30 on sale, right? 25.
Yeah, well, I ended up buying the one with the.
Did you?
Expansion?
Yeah.
Well, all the expansions. It was only $60 for all the expansions.
Oh yeah, that's so. Well, so next year game wise, it's gonna be huge, especially if GTA does come out. I was telling my mom earlier, I don't think people who are not gamers understand the economic impact that GTA will have. Like with people taking off work and all that, I think it's being projected to make like $1 billion in the first 24 hours.
That's the bad part. It will.
Yeah.
It will. Even though it's been pushed back 17 times, it'll 100% make it.
Well, and, outside of games, though, movies next year. The elephant in the room is the obvious one. In December of next year, we got Avengers Doomsday. At this point in time, I think we're 2 trailers in. Have you seen these yet? The teasers.
Well, I obviously saw the first one.
Oh yeah. You saw the first one. We saw it at Fire and Ash. But
which was a fantastic movie.
Yes, it was.
It was a very good movie.
Very long,
but very good movie.
She said, but
not to me.
But so thank you, Michael Scott. But Doomsday, but Brand New Day also comes out next year. Spider-Man. However, my most anticipated movie,
The Odyssey.
Oh my gosh! And the trailer has dropped. It looks amazing. It's the first movie filmed entirely in IMAX, including in the dialogue. 2026 is going to be a fire year for media. Like movies, games, heck, TV shows. Man, we got the new season of The Pit coming. We'll have a new season of The Last of Us coming.
Even anime, I think.
Oh, the big Dragon Ball event, January 25th, 26th. That's when they're going to announce. It's rumored to be 2 to 3 new anime projects and 2 to 3 new games.
Well, and I was going to say too, I think they're doing. I talked about it earlier. The Naruto episodes are supposed to come next year.
Whatever that is. Yeah,
whatever that is. I have to do more research on that. I think the new episode of Solo Leveling is coming out next year. I think.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I think.
What about Kaiju? I don't watch Kaiju, but I know you all do.
Demon Slayer will come out next year.
Yes.
Kaiju will come out next year. It is. It's in.
Did they confirm 26?
From my understanding, it's one a year.
Okay, all right. Dude, I love Infinity Castle, so that's great. But yeah, 2026 is going to have a lot going on. We've got some minor goals for ourselves, some fun, some serious. Lots of movies, lots of games to look forward to. TV. Just it's going to be a good year. New year, new me, like everybody says, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up next gen.
Yeah, that'll be it. So let's go ahead and get to our save point.
Yep, let's kick it off here. A lot of deep pools today.
Yeah, but I guess that is kind of expected when we go back into the attention of bringing you all the nostalgia and reminiscing about things that are now and such as becoming adults.
Valid. I still said it earlier, and I really just don't feel like an adult in the grand scheme. Obviously, we are adults, but I just don't feel that way. it is insane. I brought it up earlier when I had that conversation with my mom, but it is just insane to like ask your parents about their age at certain points in time and then look at yourself and be like, well, shit, what am I doing in my life? I mean, it's like what I said when I had a conversation with my mom, like, I'm 36 right now. When she was 36, I was like 9 years old, which is just absolutely insane. But all right, yep, let's head to the save point and go ahead and wrap things up here.
Yeah, but holding on to things that not only made us who we are today, but continue to bring us joy and value in our lives, that to some degree we will pass down and share with our families as we get older too. So like mine, like I said a couple weeks ago, I watched Pokemon 2000 with my 2-year-old
That you bought for me.
that I bought from you, but we watched it together. So
yeah, and not to mention, looking forward to 2026, what we have to look forward to content wise. Inevitably there'll be more life changes. I'm going to be 37, so not that old, but older than you, of course. I know.
Closer to 40.
Yeah, I know. So, I got 3 years until I hit 40. I already feel like it. And, I got so much gray these days. I might as well be there at this point.
Well, I'm just glad you are getting there before me, so you can let me know how the first prostate exam goes.
Man, somehow we made this same joke in one of the first episodes, and it finds its way back. Anyway, we're closing out episode 9 a day before New Year's, so we'll be wrapping up 2025. It's been a great time doing the podcast so far. I hope everyone who's been listening has also been having a good time. Some of the stories that we have are very specific, very personable, very geographic specific. I think back to our previous episode, where we talked about the mall. We very much focused on malls in Louisville, but I hope in general, the things that we talk about bring forth, memories within yourself, on some of the topics that we get into.
Yeah, it has been a good time. We still feel like we have said before, just it's much different from what we normally do nowadays. Definitely thank you to everyone for listening today. In previous weeks, we'll still be trucking along into the new year. Hopefully continue this and just keep having our weekly releases.
Yeah, we're going to keep going. We don't have any plan for any kind of pause or hiatus or anything like that. I know it's a trendy thing to do where people do like seasons for podcasts. But for now, we do plan on just continuing trucking along each week. Next week we'll be kicking off the new year. We'll have a new topic for our story mode, and of course, side quests that are going to go along into that. Specifically, next week will be end of an era. We're going to be jumping into things as it relates to physical versus digital media in that transition. We're not going to focus just on movies. It's going to be movies, games, a little bit of music, just in general, talking about how things were and where we are now. Don't forget, of course, like, follow, subscribe, reach out to us on TikTok or in the comments or anything like that. Also, the email is themidnightreleasepod@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And happy early new year to everyone. Hope that 2025 has been a decent year and you have a great time bringing in 2026.
Yes, and make good choices. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything reckless. Hang out with your loved ones.
Do not drive.
Do not drive if you're drinking at all. Public service announcement, PSA, don't do that because you got to make sure you line up for the memories that are worth lining up for.